Welcome back to the vlog. We're playing at Capital Casino in the 1-3 game. This vlog will cover the 3 days I played there. I took the 4 most interesting hands from each day and composed it into one vlog for your enjoyment. So sit back, relax, enjoy. Here it comes. I buy into the 1-3 game for $500. Been playing for about 30 minutes. Finally picked up a nice hand. I got king, queen suited in middle position. Opened for a raise to $20. Ended up getting 2 callers for the $20, so we're going to go 3 ways to the flop. With $64 in the center, we head to a flop that comes out Jack 10-5 rainbow. There is 1 diamond, so we do have a backdoor flush draw. And of course we have an open-end straight and 2 overcards. Pretty good flop for my particular hand. I lead for $45. Be happy to take the pot here. If I get called, I got a lot of outs. Well, the first caller didn't like the $45 price tag on that, so he folds out. But the player on the button, he's not ready to give up just yet. He thinks he has a $45 hand to continue with, so he slides on in, and we see a turn card of a queen of spades. Now, queen of spades is one of the better cards for my hand. Of course, I would rather make the straight. But if you're going to hit a card, queen is a good one. I got top pair, open-end straight draw. Definitely going to be leading at this again. It does bring in some 2-pair combinations I have to be concerned with. Say they have queen jack or queen 10 in their hand. But I bet $90. Apparently my opponent does not like that one so much. He thinks for a while, but finally flashes that he had a jack and folds. So he wins the first pot of the day. Well, we get a limper from late position, and then the player on the button raises to $21. Now he's been having kind of a rough day, so I think his range is a little bit wider, but his sizing here is a little bit bigger than normal, and I got ace queen. I debated whether I should 3-bet this or just flat. I decided just to flat just because his opening size. The other player also calls, so we go 3 ways to a flop that comes out really good. Queen 7-6 rainbow. Got top pair, top kicker. I check and flow. Next player checks. Button bets $52. Now, I played with this player quite a bit, and when he uses large sizing, it usually means a large hand. Now, granted, I have top pair, top kicker, but there's always a chance that he might have maybe flopped a set of 7s or 6s, or has pocket kings. Usually when if I have ace queen and I flop pair of queens, I get lots of action. That's the hand I'm worried about the most. Turn card comes as a 7 of diamonds, so it's less likely he has a set of 7s, of course. Could possibly have a set of 6s. And he could also have pocket kings. I decided to check over to him to see what he would do. After some thought, he comes out with a bet size of $105. I really debated whether I should be calling this bet. I think he has me trapped or in his trap with a pair of kings. I double checked to see if I had a ace of diamonds, which I did, so it's less likely he has a hand like, ace 6 of diamonds with a pair and a flush draw. But I couldn't resist. I made the call, and the river card comes as a blank 3 of hearts. Don't like my hand at all. I check it over to him. If he bets a big sizing, I'm just going to fold. I know that seems tight, but I really think I'm running into it here. He bets $100, just enough to make me want to call, getting good pot odds. So I make a crying call, and sure enough, he has kings. I open with pocket 7s from under the gun. I get 1 caller to the player on my left, and then the player in the middle of the table, middle position, raises to $60. Now, I haven't played a whole lot of poker with this player, but I have seen him play. And when he uses sizing like this, it usually indicates a big pair. Aces, kings, queens, maybe jacks. I haven't really seen him use this sizing with hands like ace, king, ace, queen. Even suited connectors. His range is fairly tight. And I don't have a great big stack, so I'm really not getting the price just to go set mine. But if I do hit my set, I know I'm going to get it all in. And if I do hit a scare card, I think I can bluff him out. So I call, we're heads up, we see a flop of ace, 4, deuce, rainbow. Really good flop for my hand, believe it or not. I check it over to him. If he has pocket aces, I don't think he would stab at this. I think he would want to give me a little rope to hang myself. So when he bets $60, I think he's all pocket kings, pocket queens, pocket jacks. It's time to put in a check raise, and I don't think you have to go very big here. So I put in a mid check raise. People hate paying off a check raise when they have pocket kings, queens, or jacks. And the hand kind of looks like I have ace king, right? I open for 15. He raises, I call. I would do that with ace king against a tight player. Flop comes down ace high. I check raise. I have a little bit behind, not a whole lot. But people hate paying off against an apparent ace when they have a big pocket pair. He's also a viewer of the vlog, so I know he's watching this, and hopefully he's learning a little bit of a lesson here about protecting your range. If you have too tight of a range, it's always going to lead to trouble. He does finally make the fold after showing that he had pocket queens. So good for us, we got one through. After a long dry spell, I finally pick up a playable hand with 8-7 suited in the cutoff. I got one limper in front of me. I raised to $15. End up getting 3 callers. So we go 4 ways to a flop that comes out king, 4, deuce, rainbow. There is one club. Everyone checks to me. I can easily represent a king in this position. They shouldn't really hit anything unless they have a king. So I make a small bet for $20 and get called in 2 spots. Not ideal, but if I pick up some equity, I'm going to go for it. Turn card's a good one. I now have a straight draw and a flush draw. And not only that, I haven't really played a hand in over an hour. Both players end up checking. I think a large sizing is best here. I gotta get all those people with, a little pair and maybe a weak kicker out of there. I think if someone had a big king, they would definitely call. But other than that, I think they should fold. So when I bet $90, I'm just hoping for a fold. And I got 2 of them. I started off day 2 with about 500 in my stack. Been playing for about 30 minutes. I have pocket kings in the hijack. There was an early limp. A player to my right raises to 15. And with 2 kings, I'm definitely going to be putting in a raise. I make it 45. I end up getting 4 callers, including the player to my direct left, the big blind, and the raiser that raised to $15. So with 184 in the center, we're going to head off to a flop. And it is the most beautiful and one of the safest flops you can imagine. It comes king 8 deuce rainbow. What more can you ask for, right? First player checks. Second player checks. I bet $40. It's super safe. I want to get a little action from maybe someone with a smaller pocket pair. I get a call from the player on my left rather quickly. Player at the end of the table now also makes the call. I might be able to give one of my opponents and put them on like the other king. But what else could they have, right? Pair and a backdoor flush draw maybe? Ace deuce of diamonds? Maybe they flopped a set or slow playing it? Well, player on my left has a pretty good sized stack. If he flopped a set, I think we're going to get it all in here. I'm going to bet 120. And if he has something good, I expect him to come over the top. Unfortunately, he lets his hand go fairly quickly, so I don't think he had that much. He later told me that he had the king. Player at the other end of the table goes all in for 160. I snap call. River card comes as a ace of spades. He shows pocket deuces, so he flopped bottom set, and I got top set. About an hour later, I'm on the button with pocket nines. There was a limp, a raise to 15. On the button, I decided to raise to 45 with my nines. Small blind puts in the call for the 45, and so does the original raiser. With $141 in the center, we see a pretty good flop for our hand. It comes out 3-3 deuce rainbow. So for an overpair, I can't ask for too much more besides flopping a set. First player checks, second player checks. It's time to charge all those overcards and maybe some smaller pairs. I bet $60. Now, of course, I did not expect my opponent in the small blind to check raise me, but that is exactly what he does. He makes it $160. Now, I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on here because I have a hard time believing that he slow played a bigger pair. I think if he had jacks or tens, he would just maybe flat this thinking that I have a big pair. And if he had aces or kings or even queens, I think he would re-raise to force out the other players. So he either slow played a really big hand like aces, maybe kings. I don't even think he'll slow play kings here. I think he strictly has aces, or like maybe a small pair like sixes, sevens, eights, maybe tens, maybe jacks. I don't know. I think I can probably just fold this and be happy. But in my mind, I'm thinking this player does have the ability to go ahead and check raise with smaller pairs just to see if I have an ace king. And if he has something like tens or jacks, I think a call would scare the living out of him. So I put in the call. My plan is if he checks it to me, I'm going to go all in. And if he goes all in, I'm going to have to fold. Well, five spades comes on the turn, and of course he jams all in. Not much to do here, but just fold. Don't think he'd be making a move here. I think he just has to have aces here all the time. And of course, I can be beat by a lot of stuff. I can't beat his tens or jacks or queens or kings now either. So just get rid of the hand and move on with the next one. Now, of all the hands I played this week, this one bothers me the most. There's a $6 straddle. Player opens for 25. I got queen jack in the high jack suited. I call. Player behind me calls, and so does the $6 straddle. So we got $104 in the center, and we're going to head off to a flop with 4 players. Flop is decent. It comes queen, 9, 7. There is 1 heart on board, so I got top pair, medium kicker. First player checks. Original raiser now bets out for $65. Again, this is a little bit of a larger size for this player. I can probably just fold the queen jack. If I didn't have a backdoor flush draw, I probably would. The other players end up folding out, so it's just going to be the two of us heading for the turn card. Now the turn card is pretty good for my hand, and it comes to the 2 of hearts. So I pick up the flush draw. I got top pair, so-so kicker. He checks over to me. And here I am really debating. And I think that the correct play is just to check this back and see the river for free. But he also has a pretty good size stack. And I figure if I set this up, I hit my flush on the end, I can put in a pot size bet. And he would probably call off with his good hands. And if he has a weak hand, he will just fold them out. Now,
even though you have top pair and the flush draw, that's not a strong hand. There's no need to bet for protection. You're most likely beat. Just see the free card, see if you can make a flush, and then get as many chips in there as you can.
Of course, my opponent played me like a fiddle and announces that he is going to be doing a little check raising himself, and he raises to $300. At this point, I want to throw up in my mouth, maybe all over the table, knock over some chips, stomp my feet, and pull my hair out, because I could have seen this river card for free, and instead it's going to cost me $300. So I'm doing a little math, seeing if I'm getting the right price, because I don't think he's just going to be check raising with like king queen. I think he probably has, he might have pocket queens, he might have pocket nines. The least he's going to have is an overpair like aces or kings. So I'm not even sure whether a jack is a good card for me. And if the board pairs with a 7 of hearts, it might not be a good card for me. But for $180 more, I can win a really big pot because there's no way the rest of the money's not going to be getting in. So I make a crying call, and we see the river card, which is, of course, a deuce of diamonds. Horrible card for my hand. I still got top pair with a jack kicker, and he shoves all in. It's like $200. $200 into 1,000. Well, I only have to be right 17% of the time. And guess what? I think I'm absolutely totally dead here. Even though it's only $200 and it's going to be a $1,200 pot, I don't think I can call. I mean, he has to have me beat here. This player type, this situation, he's not doing this with air or a weak hand. I just muck it, save my $200 and move on. I had another 500 in my stack, been drifting downwards. There were 3 limpers in front of me. I raised to $25 with Jack 10 suited. I get a call from the player on the button, and 2 of the other limpers. Flop comes out Ace, King, 7, no diamonds. Not a great flop for my hand. First 2 players check. I'm just going to take the free card, see if I can spike a queen here. I check it. Player on the button also puts in the check. Turn card comes is a 4 diamonds. Well, I finally got a diamond. That's good. It doesn't really do too much to my hand. Checks around to me. I check it. Player on the button comes out for $75. Now, I've seen him play a little bit here, and I think that he likes to maybe check back a weak ace or sometimes a strong king when he is in position and then bet the turn. So I'm putting him on a 1 pair type of hand. And of course, I could be slow playing something. I've been known to do that once in a while. So I think this bet is fairly weak. So I'm going to just go for it. Put in the check raise to 225. Put a little pressure on him. Unfortunately for me, he starts to tank and finally asks for a count, like how much more would that be? And of course, I don't think the math is that difficult, but he has the dealer go ahead and break it down and count it out for him that it's $150 more for him to call. If I get caught, I guess I can have like hit a queen on the river, right? So I'm still drawing to the nuts, right? I got 3 outs to the nuts and one out to the virtual nuts, unless he has a ace with a heart draw. Then that queen of hearts is no good. But after some thought, he finally decides to let this one go. And he asked me later, did I turn it or did I flop it? And I said, it was a good flop for me. A little bit of a white lie. But it was a good flop for my range, right? This is the beginning of day 3. The first hour and a half, I basically did absolutely nothing. I think I saw 1 flop. I put in a raise pre-flop, and then I had a fold to a bad flop. There hasn't been too much action, so I think it's time to liven up this game a little bit. I made sure that the player noticed that I turned on my camera to start filming this hand. I got 9, 6 of spades in the small blind. He opened for 15, got 1 caller from the player at the end of the table. He's been opening quite a lot and quite wide. So I decided to go ahead and do the old raise to $70. He made a comment that if I turn on my camera that I always have it. And I go, yep, I always have it. Showed him the 9, 6 of spades, and we got a little chuckle. This last hand leads us right into the next, because it's the very next hand. I'm on the button now, and I got King, Queen offsuit, which is a lot better hand than I say the 9, 6 of spades were. We got a couple callers in front of us, and well, I should say a couple limpers in front of us. I raised to $25. Player in the big blind puts in the quick call. He was the gentleman that I bluffed that last hand. Get 1 other caller, and we go 3 ways to a flop with $82 in the center. Flop comes out pretty good for my hand. It comes King 5-3 with 2 clubs. So I got top pair, decent kicker, and a backdoor flush draw. And I just showed them a bluff the previous hand. So when they both check to me, I'm going to use a little bit larger sizing, see if they want to look me up. I make it $50. They both quickly fold. Well, 2 hands later, we pick up King, Queen again. We have 1 lipper in front of us. I decide to raise to $15. I end up getting 4 callers for the $15, and we're going to go see a flop with $76 in the center. Flop comes out, ace, king, 3 with 2 diamonds. I have the queen of diamonds in my hand, but I'm not too proud of that. I have second pair. I'm not that proud of that either against 4 opponents. So when it gets to me, I check it, and it does get checked around. That's a pretty good outcome. Turn card comes is the ace of spades. Now, that's one of the better cards for my hand. Of course, the king would be the best. It gets checked around to me. I'm just going to check it, see if anyone's laying in the woods. No one is. I'm pretty sure I have the best hand at this point. River is the 9 of hearts. Player in the big blind now fires out for a small size of $20. Now, he does slow play occasionally, so this is the type of player I don't want to be raising for value with second pair, so I'm just going to call. And I get a overcall from the player on my left, which is like an added bonus if I happen to have the best hand, because there's no way he's not raising unless he has an ace. Other player at the end of the table shows that he was fooling around with Jack 9. I show my King Queen, and we win this little pot. And for our final hand today, we have 8-7 suited in the cutoff. I was really quiet for like another hour or so. Got 1 limper. I raised to 20, end up getting 2 callers. So we go 3 ways to this flop with $63 in the center. Flop comes out, king, 9, 3, 2 hearts. So we got the flush draw. We got a backdoor straight draw, and we can easily represent a king. We have a very tight image at this time, so I fire out for $30. I get a call from the player in the middle of the table. As I said, he's been playing a lot of hands, so I expect to get action from him. Turn card comes is the beautiful deuce of hearts, so we make our flush. He checks again. No point in slowing down. As I said, he likes to call me. If he has any kind of heart, he's going to be calling. I decided to bet $90. Kind of want action from any of his pairs. If he has a heart draw and he gets there, I'm just going to be very careful. River is a ace of clubs. I'm praying that he has the ace of hearts because he will not fold to a river bet if he has the ace of hearts in his hand. He checks it over. I'm jamming all in. If he has it, he has it. He folds quickly. So for the week, I had a small loss of $140. And again, it's from basically punting that $300 away with a queen jack of hearts hand. I really feel like I should have checked that back, and yeah, it was definitely a mistake. I got some bluffs through at the right time. That was my only saving grace, I think, all week. Of course, that pocket king's hand beginning of day 2 was nice, flopping top set against bottom set on such a dry board, getting action. Can't complain. Anyway, I really enjoyed making this vlog for you guys. I hope you enjoyed viewing it. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do that. It does help the channel grow. And one little thing, I was questioned by Zeus earlier about why I talk about Bitcoin on the vlog, and what I responded to him was that I make more money from Bitcoin than I do from playing poker, so he should be happy about that.
I'm not a chihuahua. We couldn't live off your poker playing winnings. I'm glad we have Bitcoin. Because if we had to live off your poker winnings, I would go hungry.
So until next week, good luck at the tables, and we'll see you back here soon.